3, 2, 1.
Well, welcome, guys. What's up? How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great to be here.
Thank you for coming on, and thank everyone watching the Disaster Party podcast right now. As you can see, we actually have mics now. As you remember from the last episode, we had a couple mics set up, but they actually didn't work. We just made it look like it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, but
I like it.
Got to fake it till you make it, but we had one that worked. And we went and bought a mic, but anyway, I started the last podcast by talking about mics, so we got mics now, and we're excited about it. And we're really excited to have you guys here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like all the way from Paris.
Yeah.
So tell us about just tell us about your music and like what got you guys like started with this project, and yeah.
Do you want to start?
I'll let you start.
So 6 years ago, it was actually 7 years ago, Steph was living in the US, actually here, not in LA, but in Memphis, and he was touring with a guitar player, and I was touring in Europe, and at some point, we just say, hey, let's have a band together. Like, we were kind of, I wouldn't say fed up to play for other musicians, but you know, at some point you're like, hey, I think I have songs, so maybe we could do something. And yeah, we didn't really realize that he was a drummer and I was a flutist, and we didn't realize that it's not even a thing, like, you know, it's not a band. So we just say, hey, let's have a duo, like flute and drum, like obviously yes.
How epic.
Yeah, exactly. So we just started to write songs. Actually, it was actually an instrumental, I would say.
The first was instrumental.
And a year after, we just said, oh, okay, let's just release 3 songs just to see, like, you know, we'll see if it works, or I don't know. So we recorded 3 songs, and we just uploaded 1 song on YouTube, and
with a music video. We did
with a music video. Yeah,
we did 3 music videos.
You guys did it yourselves too, or with like other people?
No,
yeah,
that was
with a team.
We had a team.
Yeah,
we had a team. It was we had a big, actually a friend of ours it was working in a big theater, and we could use the big theater with the stage, and so he did the lights.
Yeah,
and we had a team. It was a small team. Small team, but still we had like a makeup person. We had like 2 guys doing the video, 3.
Yeah.
1 assistant, and it was a decent thing, but
you can't find the videos online, so it was decent but not enough now. I would say.
So you're saying we can or we cannot?
You can't.
Oh, because I was gonna be like, where's the plug? I want to go watch these videos.
And wait for the end of the story.
Okay.
So yeah, we released 1 song, and we were booked to play shows, and we actually hadn't any songs to play shows. So we said, it's gonna be a problem. So can you hold on for a year or something?
We're glad you like the song, but I mean, it's just
it's not happening. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We don't even know the name of the band.
So a month after, we released another song, and we were booked for all the shows. And you're like, okay, I don't really understand what is happening right now, but we can't really refuse like shows. Like, we are musicians, so that's weird to say no every time people contact you. So we released the last song,
the 3rd song,
and we booked actually 12 shows. Whoa. And we said, okay, let's do it. We have 3 songs.
So yeah.
And the first show is in 2 months. So we just came in studio, just closed the door, closed the windows, and for 2 months we wrote like maniacs.
Heck yeah, I love that.
So, and then we went to play a show. We just try to figure out what is working on with the audience and stuff, and then come back home and just rewriting everything. Like, it was epic. Like,
so we did that for a good 6 months.
No, actually not. It was September, October.
No, but that we would play. Oh yeah, that's right.
No, September, October.
Well, it feels like yeah, that's right.
And then
at
the end of October, I said, oh, we should release this song, actually, it was a cover of St. James Infirmary because people like it. So let's do a music video by ourselves. So we did the music videos, and actually people loved it.
Yeah,
it was
we did a
really
video.
DIY. Like,
Yeah.
So
really
just you two this time.
Yeah.
Just us two. Actually, my parents was there. They were there, and they kind of, tried to hold a little bit the camera at
so
some point,
cool.
or
Yeah.
even at some point, my mom is passing by.
Oh, no way, that's awesome.
She's like filming, doing like shots.
Family film.
So yeah.
So we did that. And
We did that because we're good friends with the Trombone Shorty band.
Oh,
And
wow.
every time they come to France, we had a jam. Our studio that was and we had a jam, and we love when they play at St. James Infirmary. And we're like, man, this version with a Troy playing this riff and themes that he adds to actual original songs. That not his songs, but he always add parts and stuff. We were like, that's how we need to do St. James Infirmary. But that's what we did.
Yeah,
this
so
song.
we did this, and a month later we thought that we could do another songs. Actually, I was trying things on piano. I remember that, and you were on tour. And when you came back, I said, "Oh, I tried something, and I think it's kind of cool. We should record it and do a music video at home." It was even more DIY than the first. And we did that, we released that, and I said, let's go play in New York. Like, suddenly, I woke up, I can remember, it was December 16, and I said, let's go play in New York, baby.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was like,
So fire.
how do you want, how do you want to fly
I was
now
like,
and just
no worries,
find shows and stuff?
I'm gonna text a friend, he's a trumpet player in New
It's
York.
gonna make
and
it happen.
And actually he did. So
Yeah,
we
he
booked...
booked us 3 shows.
Yeah, and we played at the Rockwood Music Hall, which is probably the coolest jazz venue,
jazz
clubs in New York, and all our favorite musicians played there. So we were like,
and actually
okay.
after us, there was all the guys from Snarky Puppy playing.
Yeah.
Damn.
And we were
Yeah,
like,
that
okay,
was-
these
that
guys
was
coming on stage
intense.
after us is like, okay.
So
Yeah,
the band was 6 months
Yeah,
old when we
and
did
were-
that, actually.
But then I was touring before with a keyboard player from New York. He came to the show, he kind of helped us, and he kind of started a new record label. And this record label was, kind of
In collaboration.
in collaboration with Rope-A-Dope Records, which is a bigger label. And we had a song, we were talking about a song. It's like, maybe we should record it here in New York.
And make a
Then
single.
make a single. The record label, so the Rope-A-Dope was like, yeah, we are interested. Maybe we can pay for the studio. Let's do a video, like blah, blah, blah. We did the single and we signed with the record label. And,
so yeah,
and that was the beginning of the
it
start.
was May 1st, 2018, and we were in this huge studio in
Amazing studio,
New
yeah.
York, like a huge studio, yeah, like you have your own assistant. Like when you need something, there's somebody for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody, every
Whoa.
time you need something
If
like,
you're like, oh,
I can go away
I
to grab
couldn't have some water, like you have 3 bottles of water.
Wow.
Like you don't even know how. So we just recorded this single, and
we filmed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we became actually Rope-A-Dope artists, like
Right.
not
No,
right
no,
away,
no,
but
no.
like a few months after that.
Our first single was in this Infinity Greedy label in collaboration with Rope-A-Dope Records, and then
the EP, the next EP
was signed on Rope-A-Dope Records.
And
actually, Rope-A-Dope was the label who started Snarky Puppy,
Ghost
Yeah.
Knot, Christian
Oh, wow.
Scott.
Ghost Knot, Christian Scott.
So
they have
that's great.
all the guys
yeah,
like
Aaron Parks and
So you guys started off hot, right? Like,
Well,
you guys, like
the
just out
beginning
the
was
gate.
kind of crazy.
and
Beginning was,
the funny thing is, like, we didn't really know that we were playing jazz music.
That's
when they
even
say,
cooler.
"Hey, you are playing jazz," I was like, "Oh, that's great! I'm a classical musician trained, but sure." And he's a blues drummer, but let's do it.
let's do jazz.
Can
If you
we
wanna
get
come-
into that? Like,
Yeah.
because like this is really cool. Like you guys, the beginning of your guys' group, it just boom explosions, right? Which is beautiful. But like, how did you guys get here? You know, how did you guys find like each other? You know what I mean? And how did you guys find your passion? Because like to be a blues drummer, epic, and then to be
Actually,
classically
that's funny
trained.
because a lot of person ask us that, and for me, it's all about people. Like you can't you can do whatever you want, but it's all about people. You have to find the right people for you, and you have to think exactly the same way. And I had bands before, and they never worked because of that.
Not because of the music.
Not because of the music, not because of the style of the music, but because of people. Like
Chemistry.
Yeah. And even if you're friends, actually, it doesn't mean that you can be a band. And we're really lucky to be a couple and a band, because it's not like
man, that's
something
epic.
it's kind of unusual, I guess. Like, people are always surprised, so I guess it's kind of unusual.
I didn't know you guys were a couple either, so that makes it kind of even more spicy. Like, 'cause that's a different level of intimacy. And you know, as musicians, it's hard to be intimate with just any musician.
Yeah.
You know, like so to be romantic and creative together, that's got to be special.
But we actually played with different bands before we started Rosaway.
We played together,
because
yeah.
Rachel was in few bands and I was on tour here. But when I was going back to Europe,
I just
sometimes
say, "Hey,
she was
come
like,
play."
"Hey, just jump in and come play 1 or 2 shows." And every time that was really something special. You know, that was always kind of, I don't know. You're on stage with someone and there's always like this chemistry, like this cool energy.
Yeah.
So
yeah. We
So
just
did you
started like that, but it was more about like, because at some point when you try to have bands, like you try several times. Actually, it was your first time, so you're lucky. But it was not my first rodeo, I have to say, and. You're like, okay, so I'm sure it's not going to work because she's a pain in the ass. Like, I know that. And you're like, yeah, you know, like there's always this ego problem. Like somebody wants to be bigger or something like that. And you're like, it's just a band. So if you want to make it, we have to make it together. Like, and even if you need to have a big ego, because to be a musician or to be an artist, you have an ego, like, and you put it on the table, right? But you have to, I think that's my point, you have to think as a band as several egos, and it's just one ego at some point. So we just had that, like we had the
United.
same vision, and we just tried, and we still try actually, to find a way to translate that in music, actually. I think it's more about being a human being and trying to translate your way of being in your music. I feel like that. Like,
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah. So like
It's deep, right?
yeah.
I love that. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's what we want here.
Yeah.
Only raw, real.
So you guys met like through music.
Actually,
We met
in a
in-
wedding of
Of
musicians.
musicians.
Oh,
Wow.
what?
That was a wedding with probably like 200 musicians.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we both played, and that was it. That's
Yeah.
how we met.
You guys played together that night?
No,
No.
we didn't play together.
No.
No.
You just met that
We
night?
met, we
Oh,
played
okay.
with Severin because that was this stage, and that was, I don't remember, but that was different bands, and there was jams, and that was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that was it. And then actually when we met, then I left. I went to New Orleans for like 3 months or something.
Yeah, 2 months and a half.
2 months and a
yeah.
half.
So yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it was a long distance relationship. Like, I love to say that because it was a long distance relationship. At some point, it's just no distance relationship. Like we are
Yeah,
doing
we-
everything
everything
together
together.
now. So for 5
Made
years,
that foundation.
But it
Yeah.
was just, I think, the right time for both of us.
Yeah.
You know, we sometimes I wish I had this band when I was 20 years old, because of course, you have more time to build it and to make it happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you
It's not
start
the same
something,
story.
yeah. When you start something and you're 30 and you've already played like 2,000 shows across the world, and you have informations and different things that you can process and know how not to do, and I think it helps. I hope it helps. Maybe it doesn't.
I feel
That's
like it helps.
something,
Experience has to help. Yeah,
I would
hope.
say.
it does some
I
do
feel
and
like it
don't
would.
actually. So
Yeah. There's some. That's for sure. But yeah, that's the beginning of the
Story.
story.
And
That's
then
awesome.
our record label say, hey, your music would be better in Los Angeles, so you should go to LA to play. So that's why we did our LA debuts
Yeah.
in 2019, actually, and then
But the
Here
funny
we are.
thing, then it's a little. It's not the beginning of the story, but kinda. We played the first show we played in New York, so in the States, was
yeah.
recorded, and
Yeah.
it was
Is that
recorded.
available?
It was not
Yes.
definitely not the best show. It was recorded, but great. I mean, that was great. The venue was great. It
And
was,
that's so funny because I just, I said, hello, New York. And I just, at this moment, I just freaked out because I said, okay, so everybody can understand what I sing, actually. And everybody will notice that my lyrics are not that English, actually.
so this show was recorded, and then of course I think it was online for 4 years, something like that. Then you forget about it, right? And last year, the CEO of Namsho saw the video.
Oh, do you know Namsho?
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
I
course.
actually saw that video on Instagram today. You guys
Oh,
were at the
oh,
night
yeah.
show, right?
So we actually, because of the first video we recorded, the CEO of Namsho saw the video from New York and booked us to play the kickoff session at Namsho last year.
In front of 2,000 people eating breakfast.
So you're like, so
so
actually the
awesome.
fact that she woke up one day saying just,
Let's go to
whatever,
New York.
let's go play in New York, and that show was recorded, and then 4 years later, like probably one of the biggest music industry CEO sees the video and is like, those are the guy I want for the kickoff session of the biggest music event probably in the world. It's like, okay, that is weird.
Yeah.
That is, the whole thing is kind of...
It's meant to be. You guys
but it's kinda
put in the
crazy.
work.
Yeah.
We were jumping around when we got this email. We're
Yeah.
like, okay, this is true. I mean, I'm actually writing to Namsho CEO
Yeah.
guy.
Did you have butterflies? Like, no way.
Well, it was weird.
Yeah, it
but
was
then
weird.
we kind of knew because we were in touch with some people already. We knew that was real, but it was
The most
Still.
unreal things was to sound check at 6 a.m.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, wow.
And to warm up in the
She
car
warmed
at
up-
4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the highway.
Can we
left-
talk about your warm up? Like, how long does it take? 2 hours?
No, actually, it takes me like 1 hour and a half. And
Okay.
Steph is always saying that it's too much,
Teach
but
me.
but I'm like, it's maybe too much, but it's just part of the routine, and maybe it's too much. I probably don't physically need that, but I mentally need that. Like, it's just a bubble. I create a bubble, and it just feels right for me, to be sure. I'm like, okay, so I did that, so I'm sure it's gonna be okay. Like, it's probably just in my head.
Yeah, but now it's part of the
Yeah,
day.
and we have musicians in Europe, and they know.
They know the
she's warm
routine.
up.
And the funny thing is, not long ago, we went on TV because Rachel got this viral video hitting like 6 million views on Instagram.
Whoa, really?
Nice.
And because of that, she got a call from national TV. So we went on national TV.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And that day, in the morning, I was talking to our sound guy. And because I was asking stuff since the afternoon we were on TV, I was like asking him for like balance because he was not going to be there. That was going to be the TV guys. And I was asking for something, and she was warming up, and he heard it, but he is used to hearing those vocal stuff. He was like, "Oh, that's a weird feeling because I feel like I'm in the venue and she's warming up, but I'm not there." And
That's crazy.
he was like, "Oh wow, this. Give me a minute. This is really weird." so now it's part with our team and stuff. It's
Oh,
like
man, that's
it's
beautiful.
part of the day and the whole thing. So
But it's,
Is it from classical training?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why. But I think I'm kind of stuck in this routine too. Like, routine are great, but at some point you're stuck too. So, but I know I can do it without. But I feel more comfortable if I warm up. So yeah. But I'm not this kind of rock singer. Like, I can't have beers just right before hitting the stage and be super cool.
I get
can't.
nervous too. I get you. I'm like, I'll just drink after because
Yeah.
I feel mentally like it's not on my mind. And
Yeah.
then if I perform well, I'm like, okay, I can have this beer now.
Exactly. I'm the same with food. Actually, I can't eat before.
Cheese.
No, nothing.
Nothing, right?
Nothing.
Nothing. Because I'm too afraid about. I don't know how you say that. Roté.
burp.
Yeah.
Burping. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Burping.
On stage? Has it happened before?
that's my nightmare.
Oh, so
Actually,
it has or has not happened?
never.
Has
Okay.
not, but
Never.
Yeah, that's the worst case scenario for you.
Yeah, except if you're like a garage rock band.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can burp like
You can
Works,
fix.
yeah.
But yeah.
And everybody is gonna be like,
Yeah,
yeah.
like, yeah, another one.
No, but actually, I'm sorry. It's kind of disgusting. But
don't be
no,
sorry.
but actually, as I'm singing and playing the flute, it's all about the air. So it could happen actually. So I know that. So I'm like, I don't do that. Like, it's better for everybody here.
Yeah, especially
So-
going from vocal to
Yeah,
flute,
it's kind of
and it's
it's
also
kind
not
of
the
a
same.
performance actually, because like it's kind of physical.
And the
so-
breathing is not the same.
Yeah,
right,
no.
yeah. Like singing
singing-
is more like a
Yeah.
like back.
and
the flute
for
is
the
very
flute
different.
is really deep. So yeah.
So going from one to
But,
the other.
Yeah, it's
That's why I just play the
You're
drums.
You act like that's easy. Like you're
It's so
operating
much
4
easier.
different limbs at different rhythms, and
It's fine. And whatever the kit you play, everybody's gonna be. If you play loud, they're gonna be happy. So
that's true. I mean, I like the Led Zeppelin, so like I like the heavy drums. I'm like, yes. Speaking of drums, you guys really caught my attention, and I was like, these guys are performers. When we opened up for you guys, and we were like so grateful. And you guys had the drum. You're both playing the drums and the sticks that light up. I was like, yeah, these guys are performers, like through and through. And then you would get to the flute, and I would have some videos of it. Actually, I meant to like share, but oh man, you guys are like full on performers. Do you guys have any memorable like shows as of now that were like your just absolute favorite show you've played so far?
yeah. Actually, the last one we did in Paris.
the
For
last one in
Lacidoli.
Paris was insane.
Yeah,
We
it
shot the
was
bill
like-
with Lacidoli, Australian Hammond player.
And it was actually the night of the World Cup final. So
And France was playing.
France was playing.
So we were like,
and
okay,
it's
Everyone's
like-
just
So no, we were like, oh, this is over. No one is gonna
yeah,
show
it's
up.
like our own Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
it's like something like
So
really
if
big.
you have a show on the night of Super Bowl, you know that it's over. I mean, cancel. It's not gonna. And actually,
We packed the house.
It was like 300
Yeah.
people in it,
and we actually
just-
lose, like France lost.
that was
so-
kind of bullcrap. You know, we all rooted for
but
you
we
guys.
don't watch soccer, so we're like, they lost. Oh, okay, whatever.
Still got to play.
Whatever, it's gonna be a good show. And this show was
Yeah,
memorable.
yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
It was, probably the first time that we got on stage and people are yelling already.
And actually, I
I'm like,
had my
like
first.
Beatles. Like,
It was like, yeah.
And
yeah,
I
it
had
was
my
like-
first Rachel, I love you from the audience.
No.
Yeah. Yes. I made it.
So I remember the first time I met you guys, and this was probably 2019 when you guys
Yeah,
first
exactly.
came
It was
to the
2019.
States, right?
Yeah.
September.
And I was at the Los Angeles Chess Social.
Yeah.
And shout out Los Angeles Chess Social.
Yeah, right.
I was at the Chess Park in Glendale, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was
yeah, exactly.
And I remember seeing you guys, and I just remember this. I remember I walked in, and like the first thing I saw when I walked in and saw like you guys playing was you doing like a crazy flute solo, and then you playing the way you play, and I was just like, oh my god, what is this? And like, I'm used to like chess clubs usually like a really like kind of chill, laid back kind of like, it's like background music and stuff, and like you guys were just up there killing it. And I just remember like as soon as I heard the name and everything, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna remember these guys. These guys are insane. And like I said, dude, I can't stress enough, like your drumming is on this a whole nother level. Like as far as like live drummers that I've seen that are, I guess, that I played like shows like with, like you would have to be in like the top 5 best drummers I've seen.
He was actually on the top 5 drummers in 2015.
No way.
Blues.
Blues.
Blues
Yeah, but
numbers.
still.
That's awesome.
I mean,
Yeah.
And you've done some crazy like shows with like crazy blues artists. Like I was reading your bio and I saw B.B. King in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's gnarly.
We shared the
It's like
stage
the
with-
king of blues right there.
Yeah.
So how did that
Yeah.
come about?
Well, that was actually I was in France, and there's a guitar player called Anna Popovic, and she actually lives here in LA now, and they were looking for a drummer in Europe. So the manager sent me an email because he saw a video on YouTube. So it was 2009,
9
something
or
like
8,
that.
yeah.
And that was not, YouTube was for musicians. That was, of course, a lot of people have videos, but that was not like today. Like everyone, like even
It's mandatory now.
Yeah. And I was doing this Dave World call a crazy video. It took me like a year to work on this video, a very difficult one. And I put it there, and I get some good comments and views. And this manager saw it, so he got through Tama drums that I was working with. He got my number on email. He sent me an email. He invited me to do the audition. So I got the job for Europe, and we did the three first shows. Actually, the third show was opening for BB King in Helsinki.
That's so crazy.
So that was kind of crazy because we end the show and we end up in his green room eating banana and cheese because that's what he did after the show.
Banana and cheese.
Banana
cheddar
and
cheese?
cheese.
What kind of cheese?
I think it was cheddar cheese.
Cheddar's
on a
really
little
good.
stick, banana and cheese, and I remember having my glass of champagne, banana and cheese with BB King, and it's like, yeah,
That's so cool.
I'm having that every night after the show, and I'm like, damn, I'm like just talking to BB King,
Yeah.
in a green room,
And he
in
said,
this
he said, great solo kid.
yeah, great solo
Yeah?
kid.
Oh my
And I
god.
was like, okay. So
Yeah.
we did a few shows. Then we played a tour with them in the States. And actually one day, I remember Tony Coleman, the drummer, he was sitting on the side of the stage and he was watching me. I was like, okay, there's BB King's drummer watching me doing my sound check. Like, okay, that's kind of weird.
Nervous?
And at the end, he comes, is like, so do you always play this thin ride? I'm like, I guess, yeah. So it's like, okay,
Is
don't
it the
move.
right
So
answer?
he goes to his kit. He takes his ride. His ride is probably that, that
thick
thick. He
ride.
takes my ride. He put it on my, my stand. My stand is doing like
This is bending.
and it's like, you should try that. It's like, okay, so now, like
That's
the pressure's
crazy,
like,
yeah.
okay, I end up playing like, since that day I played like bigger rides and to have the more ping and stuff like that. So that was the whole story. Then he produced an album of Anna Popovic. So then we did a tour with 2 drums with him. So that was we did a 3 months, I think, tour. Something like that, so with 2 drums on stage.
And actually, you went to his place to have like kind of a 4 days masterclass,
First, yeah,
right?
before the tour, I went to his place in Portland, and we, he was like, if you want to learn how to play the shuffle, I mean, he played with BB King for 15 years, so this guy knows. When he tells you that's how the shuffle needs to be played, you're like,
Yes,
yeah?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yes, my
It's like-
lord.
Definitely.
So even if you know that shuffle can be played differently depending if you're New Orleans, Chicago stuff, but this guy is like a living legend. So
Yes.
it was an honor to meet him, to get some lessons from him, and then of course being on stage
Yeah.
with him. It was kind of crazy to have those 2 drums
Yeah.
on 2 drum risers like this. And,
Yeah.
it was good memories.
Well,
So that was good. So yeah.
So, unfortunately, we got to take a quick break right now after this quick message from a word from our sponsors. We got sponsors now. So
We got sponsors.
Nice.
we'll be right back.
Jeweled Universe is a beautiful little shop in South Pasadena, right on mission that sells jewelry, clothing, handcrafted accessories, fine art from local artists, and all different types of stones, healing crystals, and even fossils. Yes, fossils. You could be wearing a necklace with a megalodon tooth in it, but you're playing. Also, artists and musicians. Jeweled Universe is also a music venue that hosts open mics every week and hosts multiple events every month. So reach out to Jeweled Universe on IG or type in jeweduniverse.com to ask about hosting your band's next event. And tell them the Disaster Party sent you. So whether you want to share your art or buy a healing crystal for that special goth girl to show her that you're spiritual but not religious, then Jeweled Universe is the place for you. Now back to the show.
All right, we're back. So yeah, we were talking about you playing with BB King and eating bananas and cheese and like
right.
drinking champagne and sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was very inspiring. It was very we did a lot of tours with him, with Buddy Guy as well,
Wow.
with Tedeschi Trucks a lot, because we were working with the same agency.
Johnny Lang.
Which actually Johnny Lang, a lot of shows with Johnny Lang. I'm such a huge fan of this guy,
That's crazy.
and it's just and he's probably one of the nicest guy I met on the road.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Even I was talking to his guitar tech, and his guitar tech is also working with Aerosmith, I think, or a big huge name. It was like, I love playing with like huge names, but every time I'm coming back with Johnny, I just have the best time because he's so nice that even
And
if
he's kind of big too, so.
he's big, but he's not Aerosmith or
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But still, he was like, this guy. It's amazing too. And meeting these guys, and I remember that was crazy. I was watching Anna. We played a festival and just before Buddy Guy. Then Anna, during Buddy Guy's set, she went on stage to play with Buddy Guy, and I was watching Buddy Guy and Anna playing with Johnny Lang and his drummer.
Damn.
And I was like this, and at some point I was like, shit, I'm just watching backstage Buddy Guy playing with Anna, the person I'm playing with, and there's like Johnny Lang here, and we are just taking pictures. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
This world is crazy.
The dream of
yeah,
here.
it's kind of weird.
So when does the moment hit? Because like obviously like, you know, growing up, you guys start playing music or whatever, and like it's always been like a dream, I'm sure. Like and then all of a sudden like these dreams are starting to like actually manifest and turn into something. Like, at what point does like something like that hit you and you feel like a kid again?
I think I always felt like a kid.
You never left here or there.
Never left.
Yeah.
I think I'm still a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'm.
Since we have Rosaway, actually.
Yeah.
It was not the same when I was, because I'm a classical musician, so basically your life is all about auditioning. Like, you do that all the time, so you don't really feel like a kid. Like, people...
It's not fun.
Actually, people see you as a kid, but you feel like really stressed and stuff like that. So I didn't have a lot of fun before my life in pop music, actually. And then I started to do backing vocals for pop stars, if I can say that. So it was cool, but not that cool, actually. Like,
Yeah, she did some TVs with Ed Sheeran and all these guys.
yeah,
Oh,
it was
wow.
it was
Yeah,
fun. It was fun,
definitely.
but actually I
Talk about
have.
really cool stuff. Like,
Yeah,
it was
but-
alright.
Yeah, but I have to say that it was not that a big deal for me because I didn't know who he was.
That's great.
So you're super cool. You're just like.
So how did that happen though? You just get a call one day, it's like, hey, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I was in an agency actually, so
Oh,
okay.
they just call me and say, "Hey, big news! You're gonna do a TV with Ed Sheeran." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like,
Like, yeah,
Cool.
whatever. It's no BB King.
Like phone.
So,
But
yeah,
is he
no.
like one of the bigger artists right now? Nah, nothing crazy. Anyways.
it was actually for his single "Shape of You."
Oh wow.
Oh.
So yeah,
wow.
it was already like kind of big. So
Yeah.
I probably
Yeah.
was the only one who didn't know who he was. But yeah, I started to feel like a child again with Rosaway. Like, not at the beginning, like when you do like crappy shows, you're like, Ish, it's hard. But at some point when you kind of step up a bit, like you have a real audience, you open for kind of cool band, and you're like, yes, that's exactly what I was dreaming, actually. So, but it's actually not what I was dreaming when I was a child. But
What were
I
you
don't
dreaming
really-
as a child?
I don't really know. I can't remember actually. I never thought like, oh, I'll be a musician. Like, it was just natural. Like, I was playing music, and at some point it became my job. But I didn't think, hey, when I be a grown up, I'll be a musician. Like, I
Yeah.
always felt like music will be in my life. But I couldn't say, oh, I'll be a musician, or actually I wanted to be a manager at some point and a sound engineer, but I hate math, so it didn't really make sense. And actually my mom said that, she said, you don't like math, so I think it's not gonna fit you, right? I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, you're probably right.
That's cool.
But yeah,
But he didn't see you as a singer, that's for sure.
no, that's for sure.
Even when I met you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You were just like, what did you think you were doing
Flute.
musically? Like,
No,
Yeah, you were a
flute.
flute player.
But actually,
Or in your head, you were a flute player. You were not a singer.
I studied singing. You said singing.
Yeah, singing.
Yeah, classical singing. But I never see me actually as the singer. Even now, I'm like, but
still
it's-
building that up.
Yeah, it's kind of an imposter syndrome, like especially when I'm in the States, actually, because you have such great singers here. So I just feel like I'm trying, but yeah.
I think you're doing a great job.
You're doing a
Thank
great
you.
job. Seriously.
Is it more of just like being like a showman, like kind of being like in the front and stuff? Is that more like what is harder for you to get used to?
No,
No, because being in the front, that's your natural.
Okay.
that's the thing I
yeah.
prefer. Actually, I should.
That's actually, for me, when I see her on stage, that's exactly her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's not hiding behind anything. She's truly her. And that's what I like about this project. That's when I see her on stage, of course I don't see her from the audience
audience.
perspective, but still, I'm like, okay, that's exactly where she needs to be.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
You
That's
guys
not
do
like
shine
that.
like that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely like is something like special when you guys play because like, and especially just the energy that comes out of both of you, like, and like, there's so much energy. Like you're like standing up in the middle of it, and doing like all this crazy like
clapping.
Yeah, you know, like you're really engaging with the crowd. Like both of you guys are really engaging and stuff.
And you know what? It's really funny you say that because when we started Rosaway, we talked about a lot of things like as a project, not just a music. You know what I mean? So like how we're gonna style our outfits, how we're gonna talk to people, how we're gonna like these kind of
the whole
things,
thing, the whole picture.
what kind of pictures, what kind of photos and stuff. So like really a project, and we agreed about trying to do like an American like show. And every time we are here, people say, "Wow, you are doing such a French show," and I'm like, "No,
it's not."
And that's funny because a lot of people say, "Hey, you have a great stage presence," and I'm like, "That's funny because for me, like the American musicians have the best stage presence," and I'm always like kind of surprised when people say that to us. Like, you know, for me, it's not making sense because we are trying to do like what you are doing actually
you guys are killing it, though,
So,
honestly.
Thank you, but for me, it's like kind of I don't really. Yeah, it's a process for me.
You're
understand
getting
that.
there still. You haven't like accepted that you guys are actually really great performers, because you guys are. It's like
Thank
that
you.
was one of the first things I noticed about you guys. I was like, because you know we got off and we like took all our equipment to the cars, and I was like, oh shit, we got to get in there. Like I want to see these guys. And I could hear you guys from outside. I was like, oh, they sound good. Okay. And I get in there, and you guys are just like from the drumsticks that light up, from like you clapping and getting the crowd into it, to you like singing and then putting that down, getting on the drums and then grabbing the flute. I was like, yo, like you don't see that in the States really, like especially like at that level where you're like, these guys are next level. Like that's how it felt
Nice.
at least. And maybe I get it too, because like as a musician, we're always our harshest critics, right?
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, it's never good enough, and that's what makes it so good. But from the outside perspective, you guys are crushing it. It's really inspiring to see. You're like, oh, okay, these guys really got this stuff together.
That's good to hear.
And
Yeah,
plus
honestly.
and plus, it's honestly something that you don't really see like a stage presence like that in like jazz music and stuff. Like I'm sure like there definitely is like showmen in jazz and stuff, but like for the most part, like you know they're there playing their parts and like it's really kind of like professional and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
And stuff. And
Yeah,
you guys bring like kind of like a pop aspect
But
to it.
we have so many like
I
influences. Also, we're not. I think the jazz part. Let's
Came
say
from the flute, right?
From the flute, and we listen to a lot of jazz. Even if we don't play jazz, we
But
listen.
don't say to a jazz musician that
We are playing jazz.
But they'll tell you guys, which is kind of cool. If the jazz guys are like, this is real jazzy, you know, like maybe you're just doing something right. But you said something that makes me wonder, and if we can get it from both of you individually, what were like your top 5 influences that like influence you to do music, or that inspire you to create today, even?
That's hard.
Top of your head. Don't think about it too much. This is
Okay,
just
I
where I'm
start.
at.
So I start definitely like what I was listening when I was a kid, like definitely blues guys. Like actually Johnny Lang was, because I could really, of course I listened to a lot of B.B. King stuff like that, but we had an age difference. But with Johnny Lang is older than me, but not that old, so I could really feel like we kind of grew up at the same, you know, and so this guy really inspired me. But then I was listening also to a lot of like Anderson .Paak, all this like
heck yeah.
It's more recent.
it's more recent, but still, and then a lot of jazz, like actually jazz from Coltrane to
Coltrane's great.
like crazy jazz. I don't know. I don't even a lot of jazz actually, pretty much everything. So I don't know. It's hard to
hard,
get. 5 is
Five
really
is
hard.
But it's not
yeah.
that much.
Yeah.
Anderson
not
.Paak,
enough.
by the way.
Anderson .Paak,
Fire.
definitely. Of
Yeah.
course, Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Definitely.
And I would say that it's a good question, but we need a timeline here because it depends. Like your influence depends of your age,
This is true.
right?
Yeah.
And where you are in your life. So my
Definitely.
influence now are not exactly the same like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
No,
Okay, how about right now? Who are your favorite artists to inspire you today?
Lizzo for sure.
Okay.
Nice.
Like
Okay, heck
for
yeah.
me, she's changing the music world. Like for real, they're gonna be a before and an after. Like for sure. Like she's not the best singer, she's not the best flute player for sure, but she's just had the best project. Like everything makes sense. Like you can't say no. It's just everything is just like a line, and she's just stick to this goal that we don't know yet. I'm pretty sure, and she's just building up her career and her music and her style. And I'm like, yes.
You
Like,
said Lizzo?
Lizzo, yeah.
Nice.
No,
So
I agree.
that's my first.
we got really inspired by her
Yeah.
and the whole project, and it's
Lizzo, Anderson .Paak, because it's kind of the same.
Anderson .Paak's so
Yeah.
good too. I like
Yeah.
that.
And it's the same, like he had something in mind that we don't know yet. Like
Yeah.
he's building something and it's gonna explode
but these
everything.
guys are genius, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm pretty sure. so.
Have you guys listened to that Anderson .Paak Bruno Mars?
Yeah.
Oh, Silk Sonic?
Yeah.
So good.
But you know what?
I
for-
loved it, honestly.
But for me, like the Anderson .Paak when he's singing and playing the drums, for me that was the best.
Yeah,
Anderson
okay.
.Paak and the Free Nationals.
Yeah,
for
Free
me,
Nationals.
Yeah.
For me,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the top of his. That's the most inspiring.
Yeah.
Even if of course what he does with Bruno Mars is amazing,
Yeah.
of course. But
He's got a great story too.
yeah, the whole thing is.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that, and
Mhm.
some classical musicians for me, and some French singers too.
Mm.
Yeah, you got some French singers
Yeah,
inspiration, definitely.
So, so that's actually something I wanted to ask too. So, were you guys writing music in French too before, and then started writing music in English, or was it like you just started?
No,
writing-
actually, it was straight in English.
it was straight in
first.
English.
Mm.
And then we
That's
actually.
a great question and a huge topic.
Yeah, that's a huge topic. That's a huge topic.
It's really hard to be in France and having a band in English talking, English speaking. Like it's not something you should do actually, because like we like French, we really like French.
French are very proud of their, language and.
I think it's the same in every country. Actually.
problem.
You guys are
Yeah.
very artistic though, for sure.
So it's hard to have your band singing in English when you're
Yeah.
French. So that's definitely a topic we have to argue every time.
Yes.
Like, the first question is always that why in English? I'm like, it's just because of the melody of the language.
Yeah.
Like, it's not because of. And I have to say something. It's easier to write in English because even if you say baby, which is not that interesting, it's beautiful. You're like,
It just
yeah.
works.
Huh, that's interesting to hear.
Saying baby is like wow. she gonna win a Grammy. So
Justin Bieber. Baby.
Yeah,
exactly right. It's horrible.
you
Like
would-
when you think about the tense. of
Yeah,
it.
you're like,
Yeah.
what? There's not that much work in
But
there.
then it
No,
works. Yeah.
But it works so
Yeah.
good. And
So,
you
what's
can do
baby
that.
in French?
Baby.
Baby.
Oh, okay.
So it's
Yeah.
very.
It's like Sweden and it's like
So,
Guben.
so baby is like very.
It's very French.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's
Baby.
hard to say. It's
Baby.
the same
Baby.
baby. It's hard.
Yeah.
Baby. It's kind of.
Baby, yeah.
Yeah.
Smooth.
It's got this
And you have-
tail.
And,
kind of.
and you have several way to say it actually in
Yeah.
in different states. You don't say baby, baby. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of way to say it. So
Okay, yeah.
we don't have that.
Yeah.
Like a dialect almost, or like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
accents are so
Yeah,
different
yeah.
in the states. Like
Yeah.
so, yeah.
But first, we definitely started writing in
But
English.
we are writing in French currently.
Yes.
Mm.
So that's the new
Mhm.
era, I would say. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
So,
I mean, I'm looking forward
March
to just everything.
March 30th.
Yeah.
March 30th
That's
is your
the
next
release.
single.
Yeah, next single.
What's so which single is that one gonna be? What's that one called?
I don't know if
Oh,
we're allowed
yeah,
to say
we
it.
Are you allowed to say
oh,
it?
you guys can't. Tease.
Okay, if the label is listening, I don't know. No, they don't care. It's gonna be Blue Skies. the cover. It's a cover of
Okay.
Blue Skies
Ella
from Ella
Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald.
Oh, nice.
But very,
There's
very.
a French twist in it.
Really?
I'm not even gonna say it's a twist. It's like another universe. We took it like, I hope she's not gonna mind.
No, that's beautiful.
But
It sounds-
we love the song. It's just and we took this jazz standard. We made it sound Rosaway.
Up tempo
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Up tempo on it, huh? Yeah, because it's.
Yeah.
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 That's gonna be
So-
interesting.
We'll see. It's kind of a new. We'll see how it's gonna go because it's a new thing for us.
Yeah.
It's a new direction. So hope people are gonna like it.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, it's exciting to record this song.
Yeah.
You guys have any shows or anything like that coming up?
Well, yeah, we so first we go back to France. We record, we do the music video, and we start again in April. So we actually play NAMM show.
Oh, wow.
We start again here.
Here,
actually.
we play the
Pomona, right?
You know,
NAMM show is
Anaheim.
Anaheim.
Yeah.
Anaheim.
and we probably will have
We probably
a
have
show
Be-
here in LA.
Yeah, probably one before NAMM, and
Mm.
might have one that weekend, so like 16, 17. After that, we fly straight. We have 2 shows in France.
Yeah. So we fly for 5 days.
Yeah, we fly for 5 days. Then we fly to New Orleans, where we have 2 shows. Then we
Yeah.
play Memphis,
And
Athens, Alabama. Then we fly straight
back to Paris for
to Paris for 5 days. Then we fly to New York.
Yeah, because we have a show in New York. Like,
Yeah, we
it's
show in New York.
insane.
And
How's
then
that feel?
and then we fly back to France because we have like a big residency with our booking agents organized. We're gonna for like a big light show and stuff. So we're gonna have a light guy now, and we received the whole thing. It looks great, like this
Yeah.
cool circle, like
Yeah,
spinger.
because
for the
in France, we have a sound guy with us all the time. We have 2 musicians, and we're gonna have a light guy now.
Yeah.
But we switch. Oh, not switch, but we go back to the. We are going back to the duo actually.
a lot.
So,
And some shows we play a
Yeah.
4-piece. When it's big theaters and stuff, they sometimes they want the 4-piece, but we play a lot duo.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's the roots of the project.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting a few months.
Yeah.
So all the places like that you guys play and stuff, like going back and forth from the States to France and like I'm sure you guys have toured all throughout Europe and stuff as well. Like what would you say, like is there any like notable differences that you
Yes.
guys see, like as far as like when you're playing in Europe to when you're playing in the States?
everything is different.
Everything is different. I mean,
Really?
there's not even like
How?
you cannot even say like people are just here, they are clapping more, or they no. It's just everything is so different.
Actually,
It's-
I would
it's
say
hard for
that
me.
the first difference is that in Europe, actually in France, everything is more comfortable. Like we do like theaters, we do clubs, and
Yeah, because
you have a real green room.
Yeah, because the name is
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah,
It's just because
yeah,
of that.
but we don't have these kind of clubs. Like we don't
We-
have the club you have here in the US. We don't have that.
Mhm.
No.
So, but in the same times, it's harder because we don't have these kind of clubs. So when you started your band, you don't have opportunities to play that much that you have here.
Yeah, you have to
So-
step up to access to like
Yeah.
a
Theaters.
nice, good
Yeah.
venues.
Yeah.
But the step is big
Yeah.
to be on stage.
So it's like no ladder. It's like you're either there or
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
So
not.
you
Yeah.
do
You're-
bars
you're home?
and then suddenly
Yes.
you do theaters. There's no in between.
That's amazing if you can get there.
So
for
it's,
sure.
it's hard. It took us a while.
But I would say that, and the audience is definitely
Yeah.
everything is so different because in France we don't. How can I say that? Like we go see artists we know. Like if
Yeah.
you are on TV or at the radio, like you're gonna pack the house. But people don't go to discover or just to
Yeah. To see new like
new bands.
Got it, yeah.
And I feel like in the US people do that.
much
like
more.
I have this feeling,
Yeah.
and people are really more, in terms of music, they are more open-minded, like to new thing. Like that's so funny because when you say that we are kind of unique or we are kind of different, for you it's a plus, and in France it's not that cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But for me, the good example is that you have a lot of so far sounds show here where people pay not even knowing who they're gonna watch.
they're just like, it's gonna be a great
and
experience.
it's a good proof of people are just ready to go to a show and see bands they never heard of and they don't know, but they just go and and are ready to pay a good amount of money to discover, and that for me that really describe what is the how the people in the States work and ready to to see new things in terms of music at least, because that's what I know.
That's actually really, like, honestly, it's really encouraging to hear and stuff, because, like, there's times, obviously, like, the way that the industry works over here and stuff, and, like, I mean, when I started, like, I was a terrible musician, and, like, I just played, like, coffee shops and stuff, and just, like, my voice wasn't trained at all and stuff. I could barely, like, play guitar and stuff, and I just liked doing it, and like I knew people hated it and I just did it just because I just liked doing it. And then one day I was like, people were clapping, and I was like, hey, wait, like, okay, I'm getting better at this and stuff.
Nice.
And but the thing was, like, I got the opportunity to do that, and like, and I got the opportunity to grow and keep going and stuff. So it's actually really encouraging to hear that, like, that's something that it's kind of like a privilege to have here and stuff, and like, just to see that, like, you guys had to work so hard just to get shows and stuff.
But the other side is that we can make a living to be a musician in France, which is hard here.
Yeah, you have to make it on your own, which we were talking about earlier, right? Like,
the government is helping a lot. Musicians and artists in general.
And actually, when you play a show, you get paid. Like, it's not like you don't have to have a tip jar. You don't do that. Like, you got paid most of the time. Like, so.
Yeah, so it's definitely.
You get used to that.
But no, but that's why we say everything is so different.
It's just
you can't compare. I think.
I wonder if that's why, maybe because, like, from the United States perspective, coming up, being a musician isn't something that's really, like, smiled upon, like, usually it's like you're so passionate about it that you ignore everyone and you're like, I'm gonna do this, I want to do this. And that maybe that's because, like, when we ask you guys are like, I don't really have a moment, where I was like, maybe it's because it's that, like, it's like, well, I can be a musician if I want.
No, it's not that cool, actually. Like, it's
people don't look at it as, like, a cool thing.
No.
Well,
no way.
No, they always say it's cool, of course, but
they say it's cool, but nobody wants to marry a musician.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Really? I think it's a.
I'm moving to France, man. I'm gonna look for these musicians. This is crazy. I'll marry you. Where are they at, guys? You guys know them.
We don't have this thing, like, entertainment is not really a thing in France. Like, it's kind of. Like, everybody can sing. Like, people will tell you that, like, I sing in the shower. It's not really a singer. Like, it's not like something you do. It's not a real job. It's not like... And I feel like it's really because of The Voice, the TV show.
The TV show, yeah.
People think, like, everybody can sing in the shower so they can be a star. I mean, come on.
Listen to this reverb. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, no, but, I don't think that people think it's cool to be an artist in France, but they like, it's hard because in France we love to say that we love art, like we are the country of artists and stuff like that. But in the reality, we don't. Yeah. So it's just like we like to say that, but at the same time, it's not that easy.
I actually want to dig a little deeper in this topic, but before we do that, we're going to cut away one more time for just one more little advertisement from our sponsors. We do have two, so we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by Nightflare. Not only are they the media partner for the Stella collab, but they are also covered multiple shows that I either played or hosted, including Disaster Party's first ever sold out show at Hotel Cafe. Also, a fun fact, David from Nightflare actually filmed my wedding, and when me and my wife watched it back, we cried like babies because of his attention to detail. So if you're an artist or need to film your next show, project, or anything that you desire, then hit up Nightflare. Be sure to hit them up on IG by typing in nightflare.la. That's nightflare.la. Be sure to tell them that the Disaster Party podcast sent you. Now back to the show. All right, we're back. So yeah, one thing I just wanted to touch on real quick is I just wanted to talk about, like, you said obviously you guys have some like it's cool that you guys have like help from like the government and stuff, and over here like and like a difference between Europe and over here too is like over here is like the 40-hour work week and stuff, and like how does that like affect you guys like coming over here? Is like, do you feel like economically a little bit more like stressed out here and stuff like compared to being over in Paris?
I cannot say that because now we don't live here, but to be here, of course, we invested pretty much all our money on this project.
Yeah.
And to be where we needed to be, so it's just we want to make it. We want to make it. I mean, when you're a musician, when you have your bands, you're kind of ready to do pretty much everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, of course, it's hard, and it's money is always a problem because you want to invest.
Money is everything.
But money,
that's the problem. Like, at some point, you have to face it and say, money it's everything. Like,
but actually, that's what we had. That we had this talk during pandemic when we had the first lockdown. So we were okay. So we have to cancel all the shows, all the trains we have, all the flights and everything. We're gonna lose money. What do we do?
Yeah.
Do we stop because we already spent so much money? Do we stop or do we actually spend even more? Because
double down.
And that's what we did.
And that's why
spent.
that's why this job is not fair, because you can really tell how money people can invest. Actually, it's because you can work double, but at some point the reality is like you need money to invest, like you did, like to have mics, to have an instrument, to travel and stuff like that. And some people can do that because they have wealthy parents, or they worked before, or I don't know, but you can really tell that this job is unfair. And I feel like a musician should say it more. Like, people need to know that this job is not fair, because it's not about your abilities, it's not about your qualities first, it's about how money you can put on the table actually at the beginning. And you can be as good as you want, if you can't really invest like even a bit, you won't make it. Like, let's be honest for a second. Or we are in A Star Is Born and it's a movie and that's great, but like I never saw Bradley Cooper in a shitty venue. So I feel like we should have this real talk at some point, like, and that's why I put on the table Lizzo, actually, because she actually said that on a tweet. It was during pandemic, and she said it took me 10 years to be an overnight star.
Overnight.
Yeah, and she said I travel all around the States for just burgers, like venues paying me with burgers, and nobody say that, but I'm not the only one. So we should say that more. And I loved her when she said that, because she was already like a big star, and she just say that I invest all my money, I was poor, and it's all about what I had to do to be bigger, like, and what money I had to find and stuff like that.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
What are you sacrificing, you know? Like,
and that's actually a real talk, and I don't really know why people don't want to have this talk, because and actually I feel like if we really had this talk, people feel less stressed about that, like feel less alone, actually, like, you know, because we have this talk a lot, and we're like, are we the only one like dealing with this kind of shit? Like, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure not, but nobody wants to talk about that. Like, you have to let that really shiny, like, I'm here in the States, that's so cool.
It's so easy.
Wow. So
Now that's why we always talk, and that's where we always talk about like the working visa that it took us like 6 months. It was insane. It was long. It was, of course, it cost you a lot of money and your energy, but that's what you have to do. Invest until something happens.
And I feel like bands or artists who make it think like a business. They think their art as a business. And we talk about that lately, and said at some point, like Anderson .Paak, he had a goal, and he still have, and I'm pretty sure he made a lot of sacrifice,
Sacrifices, yeah.
and you don't know exactly if he wanted to do this thing with Bruno Mars. Maybe not, but he thought that maybe that's a good move for him, for being popular, for being known from other people, because he was doing this kind of new jazz, and it was really for musicians. Like his own project is not like that popular. Like nobody knew him before the Silk Sonic. Like, and I'm pretty sure he's happy with Bruno Mars. Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure. You know what I
I'm
mean?
sure.
You know what? Maybe his dream child was to be the drummer of Herbie Hancock. We don't know, but he has to make sacrifices that we don't even imagine to be where he is. So it's all about your goal and what you are ready to do for it. And I feel like we should say it more, actually.
I like that.
Definitely.
Sorry, I'm really deep
No,
that's
it's awesome.
awesome.
It's inspiring.
You're gonna be
really.
tired of it.
This is a podcast.
This is where you're supposed to
things.
get deep. And I mean, a question Justin asks often, and I think it's like one of the best questions to ask, especially for this podcast, is like, would you guys have any like advice for like musicians who are starting up? Doesn't matter Europe or United States, anywhere in the world. Like, what would your like one piece of golden advice you could tell yourself when you started as a musician?
Dream big, work harder.
I love that. That's a slogan, right? That's a mantra right there.
Dream big, work harder. I'm torn now. I don't know whether to name the episode that.
I know that's a good one.
Or
too.
name it banana.
What if we named it
Banana and
both?
cheese. That's a lot. That's
Dream
a lot to name
big,
it.
work harder.
Maybe we should
Banana and
ask the
cheese.
audience. Maybe we'll
Banana
do a
and
poll or
cheese.
something. Banana and cheese, or
We should make this an Instagram reel and ask them before we actually post it.
yeah, that's a vibe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
No, but I totally agree. Those are definitely the. That's what you need to do. And when you dream big, try to even dream bigger, because you always go down. So
Right.
dream even bigger.
Yeah.
That's,
And just try to not let it go. Not let it go. Pas lâcher l'affaire.
Yeah.
Just
Don't quit.
like,
Because that's when you quit that something might happen.
That's
So
right before.
And
Right?
actually, my mom has had the best image for me. Like, it was probably 3 months ago. She told me, and she's not an artist, but she's a psychologist, so she knows about goals. And she said, artistic life and artistic career are like marathon. So as soon as you stop running, you're done. But winner still run. Like, to be the winner, you have to run, and you don't know how many hours you're gonna have to run, but you have to run. And I felt like, that's exactly that. So it's exhausting, but at some point, maybe you're gonna see the line, So, but you don't know when. That's the only thing.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's something too. Like, I truly believe in. Like, it actually breaks down to like science, where it's just it's like anything else in this world. If you do something, or if you strive for something long enough, eventually it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And it may, for some people, it may be years. For some people, it may be weeks.
It can be very long.
But actually, some people. That's what we actually watched the Grammys Awards, and I felt really inspired because, you just have the best artists of the planet, right? There's a lot of great artists, but you have a panel of great artists, and I'm like, why them? Why them beside of another? And I'm like, because at some point they had the best strategy for themselves. They had definitely the musical quality, the business quality, but they had the best strategy to make this happen. To be real for an audience, to be like relatable, to be like, and I'm like, it's all about that. I think it's gold actually when you have that. Like, when I see like Anderson .Paak and stuff, I'm like, he had the strategy for himself. So.
Yeah.
So would you say that it's more about that than it is luck? You know what I mean? And I mean, I would say I agree that it probably is, but
I don't believe in luck.
Right? Yeah, it's
No.
all about consistency and, like you said, having a plan.
You create everything.
Like I wouldn't say I don't believe in luck, because at some point when you play a lot of show and some sometimes you have the right person and you don't know. But
yeah, but you play those shows. You play shows
if you
because
don't play show, there's no opportunity. So
and you built yourself
and
up
what
to
did you
get
do
there.
to play those shows? I mean, it was probably
Yes.
hours, days, and years of building and trying and call people like
And
until
we-
like
It's
12
like
at night
Lizzo,
to
right?
play.
10
and we
years.
actually had the proof of that because I said, as Steph said before, I had like 2 months ago, I had a viral video, like viral, and I said, man, I've been lucky on that because you don't know when you'll do a buzz, right? Because it was definitely a buzz, like 6 million views in a week.
That's crazy.
Okay?
That's so crazy.
And I've been reposted by Shaquille O'Neal. I've been reposted. Yeah, he actually DM'd me.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
why. They talk
what?
sometimes like, I'm talking to Shaq O'Neal. Okay.
What did he say?
Actually, one
He
of the
just
biggest
said,
Lakers. That's
you're
crazy.
magnificent, like you're a great artist and stuff like that. I've been reposted by Jennifer Garner. Like, it's insane.
Wow.
And I said to Steph,
It's amazing.
I'm really lucky. He said, no, you posting videos for 6 years. So
Yeah.
at some point,
Yeah, it's not
And-
like
That happened, yeah.
we are
and-
producing videos like three videos a week.
Right.
And we're working on, creating the thing, doing the arrangements, filming, doing the editing, doing the mix,
And
posting it. It's
and
not
we-
luck. We're
It's
doing
not
that
like
for-
you put the work
yeah,
in.
We're not
and,
doing that for
and
6
at
years.
some point you
Yeah.
find your niche and you find the right video for you and people see that it's you. I feel like, because when I ask people, I said, why this video? Because I don't think it's even good, actually. For me, I posted it as a draft. Like, I was like, yeah, I just posted.
Yeah.
And people were like, it's so natural. Like, it's so you. So people could feel that it was me. I don't know why, but, So at some point, you just find who you are and who people want you to be. Like, and it's just this thing to find because you have to be you, but in the same time you have to be a person for the audience.
To meet them.
Yeah,
in the
so you
middle.
just have to find this line, and it's a tiny line, like,
Yeah.
and yeah. So I would say that there's luck, but what does luck means?
Well,
Right.
they say luck, right, is when opportunity and preparation meet.
Mhm.
Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
put in all that work, all that time, and just the right person
Yeah.
or the right timing, and you're like, it's not truly luck. Like you, as a musician, and an artist, and a creator, put years
Yeah.
into it. It's like when I'm sure everyone in this room have been doing music for more than 10 years. And it's like one of those things where it's like Lizzo. I love that quote. I didn't know she said that. But that's like so inspiring to hear, and like I hope every musician listening to the podcast listens to that part. It's like 10 years to become an overnight success. Like no, she had a passion for it,
Yeah.
and you're right.
Yeah.
And 6 million views isn't just like that's pretty big. Like usually
Yeah.
people are like, I had 200,000 views, like I went viral, and you're like, dude,
And she
6 million?
went from 30K followers to 128
Yeah,
in like a month or something, right?
Yeah.
So that's not the same following.
No.
Now when she
definitely.
posts something, like it's like, it's people gonna see it.
You see it on people's Instagrams too, the following and what that difference is. Like every post is like so much different. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, like
Yeah.
it's exploding.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, congrats. That's really amazing,
Thank you.
and congrats to you guys for pushing forward and continuing
Oh,
and
definitely.
inspiring
We
all of
will.
us, because you guys are great, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We won't stop. It's not,
Yeah.
we're not there yet, so it's definitely.
We still watch the Grammys, so at some point
Hell yeah.
I really don't want to watch them, and I just want to be there.
Yeah.
I want just my mom to watch it.
I hope we look back at this podcast and we're like, she said it here, look,
Yes.
boom, they did it, you know?
And that's what it's about.
Manifesting, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. They say put your order in, don't
Yeah.
worry about it, it's coming, it's
Put it
coming.
into the universe. Shaquille O'Neal's gonna be watching this right now.
There you go.
It's gonna be great. Well, I know you guys have some really official business to get to right now, so I'm just gonna say thank you guys so much. All
Thank
your cups
you.
are empty except mine, but let's cheers.
Yes, we're.
Thank you guys so much for
Thanks for having
us.
being a part of
Thank
this.
you.
I know you didn't drink something.
Cheers.
tonight. And yeah, thank you guys for watching the Disaster Party podcast. This is Rosaway. Do you guys want to plug any stuff before we get out of here?
Any shout
Follow
outs?
us on every social media. Rosaway, ROSAWAY.
You heard it here first.